Welcome back to the DMV Autocross Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Garfield, and along with Dustin Grubbs, we look forward to bringing you valuable information about the DMV Autocross scene for 2025.
So, Brian, what are we doing this week?
We have a quick off-season chat with the previous hosts, and then we've got an interview with a local who's going through a pretty big change this winter, and then we got some Q&A.
Awesome.
Okay, bringing in the crew now. We're going to chat up the off-season. We got Danny and Atta and Alan with us, along with myself and Dustin. So just wanted to see what's going on with you guys this winter. Danny, you got plans for next year. What's going on with the car? I'm hearing rumors of stuff. We don't have to give everything away if you don't want to. or Tom O'Gorman.
I'm going to be like Tom O'Gorman. I'm going to modify my GR86.
And in what way? You're not going to tell me which ways. Are you going to do that, right?
Oh, all the way, man. What do you mean, what way? It's always all the way.
Hold on.
Wheels, I hear Danny.
You name it. I did it.
You guys, we might be having a technical difficulty. I hear Danny, but I see Tom O'Gorman. Is Danny still here? Like, I don't even.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, there he is. There's
Danny. That's Danny.
There you go. Oh wait, no. It's looking more and more like.
I gotta hide this. That's not going to work.
Yeah, Danny's gone.
So what's going on with the car?
I'm doing a lot of stuff to the car. So I'm doing power. I'm doing suspension. I'm doing aero. I'm doing brakes. I'm doing tires. I'm doing saving weight. What else is there to do?
What are you planning for next year? So you're not running national autocrosses anymore? Are you?
I'm running XA, man. That's the only class. There's no other class.
Sweet.
There's only XA.
So we'll see you locally running that monster then.
No, I'll be running XA. Period. That's the only thing I have.
Yeah, cool.
Well, I'm going to try to. Me and Ada combine together. We're going to take on some of the fastest people.
And who are the fastest people?
I don't know. We're slow, so everybody else is fast.
Brian, that's not how trash talking works.
I'm like the anti-O'Gorman.
Ada, what are you doing? What's going on with your car? You got a Supra. You doing anything different this winter? Are you?
I'm doing big things. It's all top secret. Wait, when is this episode coming out?
This is January. This is January.
Okay. So by this time, I might have some of the stuff done.
Oh no!
I'm doing underbody lights.
Whoa! That's.
Hold up! I'm not done. I'm doing louder exhaust. I'm talking.
I don't know about that.
I'm going to. Today I got off the phone with Gregory Jones, aka Greg Jones, aka Mr. Jones, and he has an exhaust shop, right? He makes exhaust from like scratch, like he grows the metal behind the shop and he chops it up. He harvests the metal and he like smelts. That's the right word, right? Smelts.
Yeah.
Alan would know. Alan's like a reader writer.
Alan smelt it all the time.
It's smelting, right? With metal. You smelt them.
Yes, it's refining.
Refine, yeah, and strengthening. And then he makes exhaust from this metal. It's wild, right? He was like, yo, you need a bigger exhaust. And I was like, you're right. So I don't know what that means, but I'm going to give him my car and it's going to be louder, right? Like, and then I'm also doing a turbo. But unlike all other turbos that you need fuel, you need ignition, you need timing, you need to do all this stuff, right? I don't need to because mine's OEM. There's no difference. Why am I doing that? Because I got it. The housing, it's not even the full turbo. It's just the cold side housing. Machined to make a whistle sound. On throttle. Yes, Danny's
that is so non-Tom O'Gorman.
You're Tom O'Gorman. I'm not Tom O'Gorman. I'm just like a regular dude that like somehow ended up racing, but I should be in parking lots at 3 a.m. revving. Like that's where my roots should be. I shouldn't be out at 4 a.m. going to an event. I should be at 3 a.m. going home, right? Like I'm doing the opposite of what I feel like in my heart. Because you can't lose at 3 a.m. You just sit there and rev and everyone wins, right? It's okay. Think, Alan, it's like cars and coffee, but at nighttime without the coffee and a lot sadder.
3 a.m.'s when Alan get up, man. We talking about
right.
Because he runs before he does like an event. Do you go for jogs?
Yeah, I go for jogs.
In like 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
No,
jogs?
I go at lunchtime. I'm not insane.
Well,
all right, Alan. So you're not insane. So what are you doing to your car this winter?
All right, so we're not very smart here at Parsimonious Racing. in that we have two cars to play with. We have the track car and the autocross car, and theoretically, neither one should do the other, except I already broke that rule. So for autocross, we have the blue ND XB car, and I got a couple little aero things coming for it. I don't plan on doing much else. I think I'm gonna change the seat, different wing, something up front. I haven't quite figured out what. Other than that, it's a pretty good car as it sits. I'm still trying to figure out what makes those cars happy.
Post Danny ownership is usually already pretty sad, isn't it?
Oh, look at this. Look at this. All right.
Danny, stop ruining Alan's. This is Alan's turn. Why would you ruin his turn with the biggest wing? It's not even fitting on the screen. It doesn't fit on the screen.
That's right.
Arrow, man.
Alan, I'd like to apologize on behalf of the DMV Autocross podcast.
Danny makes you feel inadequate because I buy aluminum stuff and he's got carbon fiber.
Danny, just take your pants down while you're at it, man. It's not right. Just take them off.
Well, I'm going to chime in and tell you what I'm doing this winter. There's a reason I'm going before Dustin. You'll hear that in a second. But as a fellow competitor, we're gonna do several mods, including Wang, and you
got to go like this, Brian. Hit him with the U.
XU. And the reason I went before Dustin is because Dustin doesn't get a chance to talk because he's not an X. He's done.
Oh,
he could be.
He could be.
And anyone can be an X. You just have to put your mind to it.
That's true. That's true. Dustin, what are you doing this winter?
Well, nothing as exciting as you all. I don't have a ton of air to do. I don't have two cars. Bought some new tires.
God, I'm about to boo you out on the podcast.
And I'm doing some sim racing. I got new tires. That's what I'm doing.
You got new tires for the sim racing?
He's sitting on the tires to sim race.
You can use them as a table.
Nope. New tires for my street class car.
Dustin told me that he had a great deal of those tires, and then those build dates are 2011.
Oh my God.
No.
I can tell by that tread pattern. There was no tires like that in 20.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
So now I want to talk to you guys about events. Now I'm just gonna jump around here. I mean, Atta, you're gonna run locally, and whose events are you doing this year?
I would like to do WDCR SCCA events. I'd like to make it out to Mercedes for at least a few events. My schedule got crazy last year. I did the season sub, and I only made it to a couple of the Mercedes events. And I'd also like to do a few PCA events, depending on how my schedule works. So
nice. And Danny, you?
I don't know how many more I'd be able to though.
Danny,
me?
Yeah,
I'm going to do
everything.
I'm going to do one lap of America.
Nice.
I'm definitely doing that. And then I'm probably going to do. I need to talk to Alan. I want to do one of those Targas. That
it's so expensive.
How much is it? I don't even know.
It's going to be $1,000.
For 4 days, that's not too bad.
It really
Danny, what
isn't. You think about some of the events. I mean, I spent $300 to do New Jersey at the end of the season for one day.
lap is $5,000 for 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
racing's expensive.
The Targa thing is not too bad. That Targa thing over at the Autobahn, Gingerman, and Blackhawk Farm, it seems pretty decent.
Oh, that's what you want to do. Okay, I thought you were talking about like in Canada, they have those things on like New Brunswick.
Targa, Newfoundland.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing Targa Newfoundland. I'm going to Newfoundland, but I'm not going to do Targa Newfoundland.
He'll be on a bicycle.
No, so I mean, autocross wise, I plan to sign up for the Mercedes season, and then I'm going to do all the Friday at the track as instructor.
Yeah.
And then whatever the weekend I have available, I'll just scatter. I just, I register or whatever to, just fill it up.
Yeah. Alan, how about you?
So I figure we're probably going to do all the DC region ones. It sounds like Kate wants to get back to 3 pros in the finale. So, she's talking about spring nationals in Maine.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Are you going to Maine? You going to Maine?
I don't know. Whatever she tells me to do, I'm going to do.
I like
if they do the 4-day event, I'll do Maine.
Maine's cool even with just the 2-day event, but I'm doing Maine for sure, and I'm hoping it's the 4-day. But even if it's not, we did the pro last year. Even miserable weather, the trip up was good. Trip down back wasn't as great just because of the rain and everything that happened last year. But Alan, are you doing so you're going to do a full pro schedule? Which ones you plan on doing? You plan on doing what is it? Toledo, Maine, Bristol. There's no Cleveland.
Bristol's on my no-fly list.
Yeah.
I don't like Bristol. So I imagine it's probably going to wind up being Toledo, New Jersey, and either Maine or Spring Nationals.
Yeah.
It's really not my call.
Yeah.
Kate,
well, if you do
those,
you do New Jersey, Maine, and Toledo, I'll see those for sure because that's what we're going to do. At least that's the plan. But and then regionally, I'll kind of be Danny, but the opposite. I'll be bouncing around, but it won't be very many of them locally, and we'll be at all the schools, obviously. But now I'm hoping to, we're hearing things about Northwest Field, priorly known as FedEx Field, is I think we've got possibly one event there this year. So, and I think there's a lot of people looking forward to that. So that's certainly one I want to get back on. So
when
I don't know the definite date yet. I want to say it might be in June sometime or something like that.
So all you have to do is you say you announce the date at at the end of the podcast, so then people would just jump straight to the end. No, just kidding.
Oh my goodness,
Dustin, what are you doing this year?
Same as most of you. WDCR, SCCA, Mercedes-Benz. At least 2 pros. I'm thinking definitely Bristol and MetLife, maybe Toledo, maybe Brunswick. And of course,
MetLife
finale
being New Jersey, right?
Yeah. Is it not MetLife?
Well, it is
anymore?
MetLife. I'm just saying the Jersey.
Okay.
Jersey Pro, yeah. But those are all good venues. I mean, I think we've got a good choice East Coast, and of course the DMV events are going to be plentiful in 2025. So we're looking forward to that. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you throughout the season. Alan, you are our weatherman with Alan's Almanac this year. So I'm going to throw it on you right now. Tell me what are we predicting for the whole season?
It's going to be awesome. I don't see any rain at any event for the entire year. It's going to be comfortable.
Nice.
75, no humidity.
It's good that I'm probably doing very similar events to you all season, so every time you're wrong, I can bitch at you for it.
He's never been wrong. He's never been wrong.
No,
because he calls the weather after the event.
I'm an Allen defender, okay? This man has never been wrong. All he does is get the weather right. He doesn't know how to get it wrong.
There's a reason why I'm sticking around this show, and Ed and Daddy are gone.
I know. We're always wrong.
Thanks, guys. Let's move on to our individual profile for this week. This week's profile is with Daniel McFarland. Daniel is a regular DMV competitor, and he's joining us now. Hey, Daniel.
How's it going? Thank you for having me.
Good. I'm glad to have you here. Tell us about how you started with autocrossing and maybe the first car you were in and how you got involved.
Yeah, so coming out of college, I had a Ford Focus automatic ZX4. It was, had like 100 horsepower, and I drove that for a while. Had purchased my first house a couple of years out of college, was married by that point, and I felt like there was a piece of my soul that was dying every single time that I drove that car. So I'm like, I just need to get something else, and something that's an actual car. I had been watching racing forever. I think I started watching like IndyCar racing at like 3 years old, but I had never owned a car other than that wasn't an appliance. So I needed to find something that was, going to be fun to drive, maybe had some power to it, but didn't really have any experience at all. I was watching a Top Gear episode, and Jeremy Clarkson said, "I want the slowest car of these 3. That's the Fiesta." I'm like, well, that's the only one we can get here. Yeah, I think I'd like one of those, the Fiesta ST. So it's like I should probably start looking for one of those, see if they've got any orange ones, because as a Virginia Tech grad, orange and maroon are definitely my colors. So I looked on cars.com, found an orange one at one of the local dealers, and Ford was running a 6-year 0% financing offer that ended like 2 days later. I'm like, I gotta go get it now. So ran to the dealer, learned manual kind of off the lot. I'd driven my dad's Ford Ranger like 5 or 10 times, and I had done a Bertle Ruse driving school up in Pocono once, but left leg was not nearly strong enough to actually get much out of that. So I get out of the dealer, and I'm like, well, I don't really know how to drive this thing. The salesman's like, just rev it up to 3,000 and just dump the clutch and you'll be good. so for about 2 or 3 weeks, my poor clutch learned with me how to drive, and then from there, after driving to and from work pretty much every day, 2-3 weeks later, I pretty much knew how to make that work.
Well, that's pretty,
I'd say about,
that's pretty cool that you actually did a Bertle Ruse school as well, because not everybody ends up doing a motorsports school like that. So that's interesting. So you got the Fiesta, you learned to drive stick, and then how did you end up with that first autocross?
Yeah, so one of my college friends had done some autocrossing up in New Jersey for a while, and he's like, "Hey, Daniel, you've got the perfect car for this. I hear it's like really competitive in its class. You should probably check out this autocross thing." I'm like, autocross? What's that? He's like, "All right." So he showed me some of his videos of him driving around in a parking lot. I'm like, that seems pretty cool. I'd probably like that. Let me look up some local clubs, see what we have around here, and I stumbled upon Capital Driving Club back in 2017, and I had I think I went to my first one July 15th of 2017, and a week later was at the ST Octane Academy out in Utah for purchasing the Fiesta. So I felt like I had a leg up there because I'd already driven once, but got into that first autocross, rode with somebody to kind of figure out, all right, what the heck is going on here? How do you figure out where you're going? And then from there, it was just, every single run was just amazing. It was like I'm driving the absolute pants off this car. This is so great. So
that's very cool. What was the lot that you were on for that first event? Was it Frederick?
That was James Woods High School out in Winchester.
Wow. Okay. All right. So you 2017, you've got this car, you started autocrossing, and now you're putting some time into it. Obviously, you got more serious. I met you through the SCCA events. At what point did you feel like, okay, I'm going to be competitive, and this is what I want to do?
Yeah, so the first year or two, year and a half, I guess, I was like, I just want this to be a hobby that I just kind of enjoy. And then I'm like, no, I want to go fast. I want to be competitive, like all of us enjoy.
Yeah.
Because autocross is really set up to do that. Like there's that instant time that you've got after every single run. Did I improve? Did I not do as well? And you have that comparison directly to other people, whether it's in your class or running a PAX multiplier to figure out how am I doing against somebody that has a completely different car than I have. And it's just so easy to fall into that, well, maybe I do want to try and be competitive with this. So 2019, I did an Evo driving school up in New Jersey, where the first runs were kind of dry, and then it started raining on the second run all the way through the entire end of the event until about 30 minutes after it. But I did actually beat my dry run in the wet at the end of the event, so I was pretty happy about that.
That's a big improvement, which is what a lot of us are always trying to do, is make big improvements, and that's great. You're able to achieve that at the Evo school.
Yeah, so that was very helpful. And then I started doing some a level 1 and level 2 school with WDCR in June of that year, and started doing some test and tunes towards the end of the year. So that was where I felt like I was starting to really gain a lot of experience, figure out how to drive the Fiesta, how what you actually do in an autocross, how I plan for the course, how I look ahead, think ahead, and really make the car do what I want around the course.
Very cool. So you a couple years in, you're taking it more seriously, and then it still took you 5 years to go out to nationals, right? I think this last year was your first year at nationals, correct?
It was, yeah. So I was talking with Dustin Grubbs here about, hey, some of our buddies are actually did pretty well at Nats this past year in 2019. 2020, we should definitely be really serious and start going to some national tours and, go out to nationals. And then, I don't know, something happened then that was, put a minor damper on literally everything autocross for about a year and a half or so. So 2020 didn't really happen. 2021, I still did a lot of local stuff, but didn't go too crazy then. 2022 started doing a lot more local stuff and wanted to start doing stuff in 23 as I felt more comfortable getting out and doing things more nationally. But by that point, my wife was pregnant with our first kid, so wanted to make sure that I couldn't get too far away,
Right.
especially from a 3-month-old. So I figured, all right, 24, that's when I'm going to actually go and do stuff. And I let Dustin go kind of feel out the ropes for me so I could just lean on his experience. That made things so much easier to go with someone and stay with someone that really knew what they were doing and be like, oh, no, you don't have to worry about that at all. It's not a big deal. Or, oh, actually, you need to really pay attention to this one thing because they are super, super paranoid about, making sure you've got all the stickers on your car and before you even get there. So things like that it was very helpful to have someone that I knew there that really could show me the ropes. So
that's good.
I felt like it was right at home.
Yeah, and the region itself, the whole DMV area, obviously there's a lot of people that end up going out to nationals, and so you're always gonna have some friends out there. But so 2024 was your first nationals. I think I remember seeing you pull up, and I was really happy I'm always happy to see somebody new come out to nationals. So that's very cool. So now to the subject of this profile, which is the big change in your automotive life, is you've decided on a new car and to give the Fiesta a rest, right?
I have. So coming home from Nats, a certain key member of this podcast that has been mentioned several times already pulled me aside and said, "Hey, Daniel, you've been saving for that Porsche GT4 for years and years now. If you just keep waiting on that, you're going to be too old and not be able to enjoy autocrossing anymore. You should, are there any other cars you would be, consider driving?" I was like, well, I've been reading the fast tracks from SCCA where they kind of propose rule changes and stuff like that, and move various cars around, and they started moving the 718 Caymans from Super Street against the GT4s and GT3s and all that down to A Street, where it'd be competing against some of the Corvettes. I was like, that actually might be plausible. Why don't I just take a look to see, are there any orange Porsches for sale? And it's like, oh, hey, there's one 2019 Cayman GTS for sale in Chicago. Well, okay, well, let me go make some calls, call up Sam Strano, because he knows pretty much everything. Called up Sam and said, hey, do you think this car could actually be competitive? Not realizing that Shelley Montfort had actually driven that same car at Nats and had won in that literally, 1 month before. So he was very familiar with the platform and was able to say, oh yeah, you'd be, it's going to be course dependent, but you're probably going to be pretty competitive in that car there. So it's like, okay, now I need to go talk to the financial advisor and make sure that's okay. He said, all right, yeah, go for it. And so immediately called up the dealer, said, hey, I want to purchase this car. I can fly out to Chicago and drive it back on Friday. And they're like, okay, Friday at 9 a.m., we'll see you then.
Yeah.
So flew out there, looked at the car, just wanted to make sure everything was kind of okay, because it did have the smoker's package. So I wanted to make sure it didn't smell like smoke or anything like that. Mm. But flew out to Chicago bright and early Friday morning, brought my helmet with me to make sure that I actually fit in the seat. and one change of clothes just in case I had to stop along the way, and drove straight home.
That's
was,
awesome. So I remember seeing it the first time. At least for me, the first time that I saw it was obviously after an event, post regular season. So you've got an event or 2 or 3 in the car now.
Just one.
Oh, just
so
one.
I had
Okay.
bought the car. We had one more SCCA event. I wanted to finish out the year because I had a really good battle with Andres Rodriguez, who had come to really know over the last year or so. We were kind of neck and neck the whole time. He did just barely edge me out, but
And that was-
he had the faster car and all that.
And that was in H Street. Is that what?
It was in H Street,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
So he had the car that's won the last couple of years, has a little bit more tire on it. But the Fiesta does have a little bit more power, so depending on how the course is set up, sometimes I could take it, sometimes he could take it. But I think we were tied not only just on points for the entire year, but literally events like national tour events, pro solos, and literally everything was kind of tied up to that last event. And he took me by 2-3 tenths, I think.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, the Fiesta's had a good run. It's time for something new.
Yeah.
So then after that, co-drove with another friend because I said, I would co-drive with him in his Fiesta. That was Tom Arnold in one of the Mercedes-Benz events. And I'm like, all right, so it's been 2 autocrosses that I've had the Cayman and I still haven't driven it yet.
Yeah.
And finally, in November, I was able to take that out for the autocross with Mercedes-Benz. And actually got to drive my dad around in it too. So he was there for the first 3-4 runs I took in it. So that was actually very special for me because it's like, this is something that, something that I can share with him that's always going to be memory in this car.
That's great. Yeah, that's really cool. So do you have any just brief thoughts on the big change? You went from a front engine, front wheel drive to a mid engine rear wheel drive. And I actually owned a Boxster S for a very short time, but I had known of the car for a very long time. It was within the family. And when I owned it briefly to just drive on the street, because I had autocrossed it many years ago, but driving it on the street the first time, just the way that car drives, just as a touring car in that sense, and then of course having the motor right behind you is amazing too. What were your thoughts? Your first initial thoughts with the way the car just in general is as a driver's car?
Yeah, well, I think having actual 200 treadwear tires and everything set up on the car would be a lot different experience than 6-year-old Pilot Sport 4Ss that came with the car when it was new. After I'm buying it 5-6 years later. I think that will be a different experience, especially when it's not 50 degrees out.
Right.
But I think from what I've been told, it will drive actually somewhat similarly to a front-wheel drive car where you kind of push really hard into the corner, get it turned, and really fast out right after that.
Lift and pivot. The only difference is you can't stay lifted in the mid-engine.
Yes. So I got to get on it pretty fast.
Yeah.
But it's also a turbo.
Yeah.
I've been driving a turbo for 7 years. So
Yeah.
autocrossing anyway. So I think a lot of it will be familiar. A lot of it will be I have to be much more careful with my right foot because in the Fiesta, it's basically on, off both brakes and gas because you just have to drive it just so aggressively in order to keep up with everybody else.
Yeah.
And definitely going to have to be much more careful in the Cayman.
Now, do you see yourself attending more Porsche Club events, or is this not going to change the type of events you go to? Or are you become a Porsche file where you're going to wear the Porsche hat and the Porsche jacket?
I mean, I have always wanted a Porsche since I was, I guess, about 12 years old. I think, I'd been driving the Need for Speed games where basically you hit forward and every now and then you hit left or right and then maybe brake, but you pretty much just went forward. And they came out with a Porsche Unleashed game where they kind of chronicled through the entire history of Porsche up until 2000 with the 996s. So I was like, this is the brand that I want to be a part of. And so it's pretty cool that it's actually starting to happen now. As far as PCA events, I've been going to 1 or 2 every year. I might go to a few more, but generally I'm interested in the competition that SCCA can provide.
Gotcha.
So I'll probably continue doing that as my main club, and then kind of tack on others as I'm able to, that fit my schedule and that I have time for.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. And you mentioned being competitive, and we're going to have you back for more tech talks throughout the season. So we look forward to that, because you're going to cover a lot of this stuff with us, from the basics of, Solo Storm and cameras and things like that, to the advanced stuff, so people can pick their driving apart a lot easier. So I look forward to that, because I still have a lot to learn in the data. For me, I always had co-drivers that would take care of the data for me, and now my wife's my co-driver, and she's less tech than I am. So so I look forward to hearing from you at those tech ones. But again, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing Daniel's stuff. I'm such a noob still after all this time when it comes to tech. Even though I should be more involved with it, it's just one of those things I push off to the side. I like to just drive.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've wanted to set it up for a long time, and I guess I just need someone to do it for me. Maybe I'll take notes this year and actually get it
I
done.
think you do. I think sometimes you need somebody to help you, and then also maybe make you do it as well. Like sit there and
Yeah.
go, okay, now hit this button, hit this button, hit this button. And the next thing you know, you're doing on your own anyway. So
Yeah, and the best time to get that routine in place is at locals, because I don't want
Yeah.
to be learning that stuff at a big event. That's not the time to figure that stuff
Well,
out.
and that brings up a very valid point to why I had so much trouble personally, was because every time I was trying to get the system to work, I was competing at that moment.
Your mind's elsewhere.
You can't do that, and you don't have the time. So something I did more recently was I actually took the data stuff and I put it in my street car, and I went out and I just drove some back roads with it, not too
Mhm.
aggressive, and just tested it and learned the software that way, rather
Yeah.
than waiting till I got to an event. Yeah, the data's not the same and it's not as good to look at, but the point is familiarizing yourself with how
The
to
flow.
work it.
The
and
yeah, the
flow.
workflow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So okay, let's get into the Q&A.
Sounds good.
The first question is from Mary, and Mary wants to know how she beats her husband. So this is a very rounded, huge question. And I think the best approach for me has always been, first of all, reach outside your spouse to get help, because there's always that sort of um, tension when a spouse is teaching another spouse. I've always had that problem personally, my wife and
Yeah,
I.
same.
Yeah.
Same.
So I think you need other people to step in. You need to get other people. Like I've gotten a lot of different instructors to jump in with my wife, to ride with her, and then do course walks with her, things like that, so that she can, and
Mhm.
then different people, as many different people as possible. You get all these different perspectives, I think is really important. And then of course schools and as many course walks, and it still comes down to how much time you want to devote to it, but it's always possible. It takes a lot of work
Yeah.
to get better for any of us.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, schools, practice, ton of events, and ride-alongs with the spouse to get all their secrets. But then, yeah, you got to go somewhere else to learn maybe what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Learn from someone else. Like, hey, I think that this is where he's screwing up all the time.
Exactly. Maybe have that instructor that rides with the spouse jump in with the other spouse and say, well, this is what I think they're not doing right, so don't do that.
Yeah, like I actually he drives too hard. If you drive slower than him, you're going to be quicker.
Slow down to speed up.
Yep.
All right. The next question is from Stuart. And Stuart wants to know, as he transitions from a local autocrosser to a national autocrosser, going to his first national event, what should he look for? What's going to be different? First and foremost, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
You've got to go to a national event. You've got to see what it's like. It's a blast. And then that also gets you prepared for what we say next, which is just go to nationals. It doesn't require a particular experience level. It requires more preparation. And that's really the bulk of it. It's just a little more preparation. But there's no reason why any second year or third year or whatever shouldn't just go. It doesn't matter if you think you're less competitive or the car's not prepared or whatever. Just go. The national events during the season, prior to nationals, are about 200 to 300 people, right? So you're still not the huge extravaganza that nationals is, but you're seeing a larger event. Again, we used to have events. Our local events used to be that size too, but that'll be something that's new to you.
First national event coming from local. What to look for? Your local teammates, your club members, the people going to that event. There will be members going to that national event. I can guarantee it. What's going to be different? It's just going to be grander, bigger, longer course, bigger everything's just scaled up.
Yeah.
That's really all it is. The competition, locals are a great time to hang out, but you'll kind of notice the competition run after run.
Yep.
It's just everyone's on their game.
Yep.
Like it's just such a cool sight.
Well, I think the one thing that you'll want to know is that you're making a change from, I don't want to say this in the wrong way, having fun to being competitive. There's a big jump there, right? Like you're saying, things are going to be different in that sense where a lot of people there are going to take it more seriously than you're used to seeing maybe at a local event. There's going to be, it depends on who you run with and how fast they are, but you're going to see some serious people at local events, but there's another level to how many are serious and then how serious they are. I mean, there's more of the, maybe you don't go up and talk to this person while they're running, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because another thing is everyone at that national event has probably driven, at least 3 to 6 hours for that event. It's not just your 1 hour radius.
Right.
It's people. This means a lot to, everyone there.
And there's going to be people making mistakes that they're not very happy about. So I don't want to paint it like everybody's really
tensions
intense.
Run high.
I don't want to paint it like it's too intense, but I think you're going to see that intensity more. You're going to see, in general, maybe more organization, meaning you need to be at this spot at this time. There's not really much of a room for a mistake there. I think just going into it with the overall understanding that it's going to be more serious than your general local event. But other than that, there's still a bunch of people having fun. You're still going to have friends there. But I think you brought up a very valid point. Look for those friends. Look for those local friends because they're going to help you.
Yep. I just thought of one other thing that it always gets everyone on their first national event: stickers. Get someone to help your tie rack banner and your required stickers. You don't want to be rushing doing that. And I have some practice with the tie rack banners now. So if I'm at that event, I'll help you put it on.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because there are required stickers and your numbers. Yes. Here's another point: your numbers and letters need to be official. I think in general, a lot of events run things differently than say an SCCA event. And when you're talking about running nationally, you are running an SCCA event at that point. Unless I'm missing something, there's nobody else that runs national events. But so your numbers, I believe, are 8-inch minimum. I'm trying to remember the rules off the cuff here. 8-inch minimum, and then the class letters need to be half or bigger, or maybe they.
It's about, I think it's 8 to 12 inch for number and 4 to 6 for class.
Yep.
And then I actually had a problem. You are reminding me, I had a problem at my first national event with numbers. Switching to my current white car, I had silver magnets for my last, and I showed up. SCCA local didn't matter. It's silver on white, but I show up at Nats, and they're like, that does not contrast. We cannot see that from 500 feet.
Yeah. So, and I guess that's a big one. We used to be real sticklers about it, and it's unfortunately something that made people think that the SCCA events were a little less friendly, but we were sticklers about it because we were running 275 competitors in a day, and these cars are flowing every 20 seconds, and there's not as much room for mistakes from the staff or the people, or even the workers at the events. So we were always very strict with numbers and letters, and that's kind of relaxed a little bit over the last bunch of years. But that's something that actually helps you when you go to a national event is being used to clubs that are a little more strict. The necessity for being prepared becomes that much more important. Making sure you have your tire gauge. Maybe you're now traveling to an event. Think of any.
Make checklists. Make schedules. As soon as
precisely.
You get there's usually I think they're still using Sportity for this year. Like you get on those text notifications, and they mostly get you to where you need to be.
Yeah. No, the checklist, I have one in my phone that I've made for everything I need. Now, it's actually for any autocross, but for a local, I kind of breeze through it real quick. But for a national, I mean, I'm actually checking each of those boxes. I'm making sure I have,
batteries, battery chargers.
Yeah,
I'm always forgetting battery chargers.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe these are things you purchase to leave in a travel box that always goes to these national events.
Yes.
Numbers and letters. I mean, obviously we talked about that, but having extras.
I was about to say I have extras that I bring with me in case they blow off, they tear. Yep.
Yeah.
It's always nice that I take way more to national events than I do locals. I'm taking extra sway bar links and just anything that could go wrong. I don't want to drive a total of 12 hours to have one of my 6 runs go wrong.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I think we just jump back to the beginning when we said just do it. I mean, it's going to be a great experience for you. Just make sure you're prepared and you're going to have a great time. Make sure you know who's going. You can hook up with them and they can help you out. And I think it's easier than you think. So that's it for the Q&A. Thanks for helping me out, Dustin, for this week. And if you have any questions or comments, it's dmvaxpodcast@gmail.com. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you.